Due to Cowboy Bebop's success when introduced to Western audiences in the early 2000s, there's no doubt that Hollywood wanted to cash in on some of that profit. Just by knowing how greedy and thoughtless traditional Hollywood are, anyone could have guessed the possible outcome. It led to a complicated history of attempts at a live-action production, which I'll be going through in this video.
It's so different here than where we grew up. Nothing is like it was in Minnesota. I'm so worried. Do you think we'll be able to fit in here and live like everybody else?
The earliest confirmation of the existence of a live-action production brings us back to around the 22nd of July 2008, where multiple entertainment websites, such as firstshowings.net, reported that If magazine interviewed then Fox producer Aaron Stouffe. At the time, Stouffe was known for producing works of pre-existing media and casting Keanu Reeves in the lead role. Examples of these include 2006's A Scanner Darkly and 2008's Constantine. In this interview, Stouffe stated that Fox had just recently signed a contract to begin development on a live-action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop in the form of a feature-length film. Stouffe then confirmed that he had already visited the show's original creators in Japan, informing them about how his previous works, such as 2006's A Scanner Darkly, would help form the live-action remake. This gives us the idea that development, or at least some sort of interest in the project, would have occurred between 2006 to 2008. There are also rumors during the time that Reeves was in line to play Spike Spiegel. Fast forward around 5 months later, the 17th of December 2008, firstshowings.net reported that MTV's movie blog had interviewed Reeves in relation to his involvement in the production, to which he confirmed the former rumors, thus providing fans with their Spike Spiegel.
That was good. 20th century TV was the best. On the other hand, our dramas are so boring it's pitiful.
Jumping to the 15th of January 2009, Variety confirmed that the film's screenplay would be written by Peter Craig, who had not had a single writing credit to his name during 2009, but is now known for writing the 2 Hunger Games films. Sunrise Inc., the animation studio involved with the original anime, were confirmed to be closely involved with the film. The film was also given a 2011 release date.
Some lunar red-eye. They said Grin was selling it to Vicious for big bucks. I wanted to get my hands on the money. Oh!
Take a look. Do I really look like I have money?
The last update that was given for this version of the live-action production was 1 year later, the 16th of September 2010. Steve, I'm gonna completely butcher his name, Weintrip of Collider interviewed Reeves during the Toronto International Film Festival, asking him if there were any updates with the film. Reeves stated, "I haven't heard anything back. They turned in the script and it was very expensive. I don't know if they're going to. It would cost like $500 million to make that script. So, I don't know where it is right now." The clips I'm about to show aren't from the same interview, but here are a few more interviews in a reference to Cowboy Bebop's live-action adaptation.
I have to ask you about an upcoming project we've asked you about before that we're really curious about, Cowboy Bebop. So is this something that you think is going to happen? Like, where's the script at?
There's a draft of the script, but the writer did such a great job. In order to make the movie, you would need $500 million.
Your name is attached. That's going to happen.
The studio kind of just went, this movie is fantastic, and it would cost $500 million. Right. So he's doing a rewrite.
What does this movie need, though? I mean, there are a lot of characters in that series that obviously you're going to be there, Spike. But who else do you want to see in the story?
Everyone is there.
I think it was at this film festival that I asked you about Cowboy Bebop, and you said the script was like going to be $500 gajillion. Where are we at, man?
Nowhere.
Really?
Yeah.
You said they were going to try and like pare down the script. No?
Yeah, and it's it hasn't been working.
That's your diplomatic way of putting it.
Yeah, it's just every time it comes back, it's like, it's still $1 gajillion.
It's now 3 gajillion instead of 9 gajillion.
Yeah, and it's like every time they try to pare it down, it's like, well, that's not the film. What about the other gajillion?
So not feeling super optimistic, unfortunately, at this time, but who knows?
I know I'm getting too old to play Spike. It'll be like, I'll have to be Spike's older brother.
Senior Spike.
Thorn, Senior Spike.
Exactly.
Dad of Spike.
Should I stop asking about Cowboy Bebop at this point? Is it over, you think?
I spoke with some people. I had some conversations, and I believe they're still knocking on that door, but it has not opened.
Okay, and still the $2 billion script.
Yeah, it's $500 million.
I was in an airport and I met Keanu in a little shop in the airport, and once I got past my little fanboy moment with him, I introduced myself and I said, I'm the guy who played Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop, and I heard that you've got rights to this thing, and you may be playing Spike. And he goes, oh yeah, dude, I know who you are. I've seen the whole show. I love the show. Yeah, man, I really, really want to make this movie. And first of all, I kind of had to stop myself and be like, so right there, it sort of turned me the opposite direction. When I saw how passionate he was about this, he's really into it. And his concern at the time was that the script was so beautifully written, however, it was going to be so expensive to make that he was afraid it would never get greenlit. And I think that's one of the problems. That's one of the reasons it's been delayed for so long. He said it would be like $500 million to do all of the effects and everything. It may be more possible now because technology has improved. I just don't know what the right situation is at this point. And the other thing was that he was afraid that if it did get greenlit, it would take so long that he wouldn't be able to do his own stunts. And that was something that was super important to him. He really wanted to be able to do his own stunts as Spike. And when I heard that there was that kind of passion, that kind of investment in the movie, I was okay with him playing it. And Watanabe-san was also on the books as the executive producer for it. And so with his guidance, as long as he was able to steer the ship, I thought it could come out to be an amazing film. Yeah. And especially with the technology now that we've got, it could be an unbelievable feature film. But if they do it, I just pray that they do it right.
Yeah.
So.
I just hope they don't drown it in special effects.
Yeah.
That's my concern, super fast edits and just making it a ride rather than a story. I'd really love to see characters fleshed out.
Transformers.
No.
There is a project underway in America for a live-action version of Cowboy Bebop, but the details are a secret, so I'm afraid I can't talk about that.
Are you excited to see that? Do you feel strange to see other people telling your story in some ways?
Cowboy Bebop was influenced a lot by American film, so I'm interested to see how Americans will turn that into a live-action movie. And I also hope that they'll be able to keep the feeling of the animated Cowboy Bebop.
This next interview possesses quite the lengthy duration, but I personally believe it's one of the best I've shown so far. It's an interview with Joshua Long, an independent film producer who also happened to executive produce a live-action Cowboy Bebop by Fox.
You know, it is. We have an extraordinary script by Peter Craig. We are in. You know, it's in active development. Everything is moving forward. I think people probably misinterpreted what he said, and it might have caused a little bit of a stir, but it shouldn't cause any alarm to anybody.
So it's not like now the movie isn't being made because Keanu said that, and then
Absolutely not. And I know that wasn't his intent. I will say this: it's very, the script it's very big. I mean, it is. Bebop, hops around planets, and it's very exciting. So it is a very big movie, but it's certainly well within studio's ability to make this movie. So that's not scary. I have to be pretty cautious here on what I can say. But it does center around Spike, Vicious, and Julia. It does tell the main thematic story of the anime series. The series has lots of standalone episodes, and then they have I think it's over 7 episodes. They kind of have the story arc of Julia, Spike and Vicious, and the Red Dragon's path, and that's certainly something that we concentrate on. So
okay,
it's not. I would say it's not an origin story. It's definitely sits well comfortably within the anime as we know it. So it's for fans of the series. I mean, when I read it the first time, I felt so completely comfortable because I knew these characters very, very well, and Peter captured their essence and their personalities just perfectly. And so it was really as a fan, it was really exciting for me to read it because I felt very comfortable with these characters. So. What we also have to do then, as filmmakers, is to open it up to wider audiences as well. We need to make it just as inviting for them too, and so that's something we're we're very conscious of, is to make sure that it invites really all audiences in that might not be familiar with the characters.
So, can you tell us what characters are actually in the script? Like who's in there and who's not?
I guess all of them.
Even Ed and Ein, they're in there?
Yes. The other character in it is the jazz, and I think that the jazz is still extraordinarily important because it has that tempo still,
Okay.
Which the series did, which is, of course, bebop is a jazz term. It was based off of that. So that's still very much present, and that's also a real character. And the ship is a great character as well. It has a personality all its own, which is fun. It's really, really funny. There are some lines in it, and a lot of the humor in the anime series centered around their quest for food.
Yeah.
They're very, very bad bounty hunters. I mean, they might get the bounty, or, they might get the mark, I guess, but they never get the bounty. And so they're not good at it. And I think that's a lot of the humor. And there's definitely some extraordinarily funny jokes in this. And what was neat, we communicate obviously very closely with Sunrise and the creators of it. They give us notes on it, and we're creatively very, very in sync. A lot of the humor didn't translate, when we do the translation into the Japanese, so they can read it. A lot of the things that we thought were funny, they didn't understand. So it was really, it is a lot of this humor, we had to kind of explain to them in a different way, but it has that playfulness that the series did. At the same time, it is also very, very serious. I mean, there's revenge, it's betrayal, there's death. I mean, it is even though it takes place in space and, kind of a fantasy, it is certainly serious. I mean, these are real people. There's no aliens, so this is not that far removed. These are actually all humans, even though they might be on Mars.
What is that pitch for this movie, do you think? It's a toughie.
I'm trying to remember how I described it, because I had to do this through 2 years ago or whatever. What did I describe it as? I almost want to go back and look at my notes. Maybe I'll get back to you on that. But
that's fine.
It was, what is nice about it is that people know Bebop, so we didn't. And there's been a lot of things that have been kind of in. We can't say it's Firefly, but better. It's got to be. It's the other way around. So because this was a very influential one. It was also consciously made as a Western. So it was. It had a lot of Western influences into it. I can't remember what we described it as, but it is, it's unique. I'll give you a little funny story. When we first met, actually, I think it was the second time we met with, Watanabe-san and Nobumoto-san who are the creator and writer, the director and writer of it in Japan. Literally, they were describing when they pitched it to Sunrise the first time, and literally their pitch was bounty hunters in space. That was it. Yeah, so it was that simple, bounty hunters in space.
So from a production design standpoint, what can you tell us about the way the thing's going to look? I'm assuming, there's a ton of concept art and stuff that's been drafted up.
I can't actually. It's not, I don't think it's at that stage yet. So I'll say this, just going from the script, it is very, these places are, it's Mars, but, these are kind of decrepit civilizations that are kind of, it's our civilization that is, as it had to extend out into the solar system, and it's not doing that well, so it's a lot, it's pretty junky. It's very moody. It is noir, kind of like, obviously like the anime. But no, there isn't, let's just say there's no production designer yet. So we actually haven't nailed down into that yet, but just reflecting on the script, it is our civilization transplanted to other planets, just as we would have built them, or had built them on Earth. And it's in a state of decay, just like, I think fictionally, there's not that many people left in the world. I think they were all pretty much wiped out. And so it's kind of the stragglers of humanity that are out there. And that's why, the law enforcement has turned really towards, the cowboys to kind of be that last leg of law enforcement and order. I'm sure everybody would be very happy. And I know, every producer and everybody involved in this, is obviously very, very aware of, the play, how it fits in the fan community. And when we can share things, I know that we will, because we really like and appreciate keeping them informed in it. And it's the only reason we're doing this. I mean, we're doing this because we care about it, and we know that a lot of other people care about it too.
In terms of the likeliness of this thing being made, now you're an experienced producer. You know that 1 out of every 8 billion movies actually gets made. What do you think I mean, obviously you're going to tell me 100%, but what are the odds on this one? Because there's whenever you see a project like this getting talked about, the way it's being talked about, I think the general assumption is this thing is not going to see the light of day, among the fans anyway. Is that obviously?
I'm not gonna. I can't lie and say I will know that Fox, when Fox gets behind a project, they seriously get behind it, and they have not let up in their desire for this from day one. And it is a very long process. I mean, one of the things that this is a very big movie, and it's an important movie. So we have to find the right director, and directors that can handle this type of movie in this scale. There's not that many of them, and they're booked. I mean, they have Pirates of the Caribbean 4 to make, and they have all these movies that are in front of this. So we need to find the right creative team. We're just not going to take any creative team. So it does take time. But that said, when we're all completely committed to it still, and so is the studio. So it is a very long process, and that's just unfortunately how it works. But again, I'm not a sage, but we're all still confident.
Radical Edwards' profile: he's a 7-foot-tall ex-basketball pro, Hindu guru, drag queen alien. Mwah.
In terms of different versions of the film's plot that are known, Reeves had confirmed during the 2008 interview with MTV that the film would expand upon the plot of the first session of the show, Asteroid Blues. As much as I personally love the first episode, there's no way it would have done the show justice, as half the characters and the vast array of the show's genres are not even present within this episode. Further details in reference to this version of the film come straight from Keanu Reeves, who stated, "The plot involves the origins of the fictional Bebop drug developed by the military that gives its users a brief surge of superhuman reflexes and awareness." Keanu is practically describing the plot of Asteroid Blues, as the film would have renamed the red-eye drug to Bebop. I'm gonna completely butcher his name, but another variation of the film's plot was reported by Drew Daesh on fandom.com during the 3rd of April 2018, so I'm not too sure how accurate his claims are. Daesh stated that the film's plot would mostly highlight the rivalry between Spike and Vicious. The film would have begun with Vicious in jail, killing his fellow inmates and the guards, and eventually escaping. The real confusing change to Vicious's character is that his main motive is to control all of the oil in the solar system for no apparent reason, not to make his way to the top of the syndicate like in the anime. It's not made clear if Vicious is a part of the Red Dragon Syndicate in this version due to his questionable motive. Spike comes into the picture due to him being a roadblock for Vicious to achieve his previously mentioned motive. This is because Spike is apparently the next in line to becoming the leader of the Syndicate. Because the Syndicate control the majority of the solar system, they would obviously get in the way of Vicious's stupid oil motive. Vicious wouldn't have even tried to kill Spike himself. He would have instead hacked into a bounty hunter computer system, placing a 400 million bounty on Spike. This would have led to the majority of the film's plot. Spike would have had to deal with multiple bounty hunters trying to kill him, while finding out who put the bounty on him. Once he discovers Vicious is responsible, it would have been made clear to us that Vicious was once a part of the Syndicate, and that Spike and himself once worked together. Yep, the film would not have even shown or at least mentioned Julia. This would have provided Spike with a lack of clear motivation and an unrelatable past, while also providing both Spike and Vicious with a very small connection to each other when compared to the anime. One alteration from the source material that a lot of fans surprisingly approve of would have been a change made to Spike's artificial robotic eye. The film would have depicted it possessing a fault that would result in moments of Spike's past to appear before him. Sure, it's a cool concept, but it completely destroys the notion that Spike chooses to be preoccupied with his past due to the pain it entails. It instead treats Spike's dwelling of his past as if it's out of his own hands. as if it would have been laid upon him. Memories that left a technical fault rather than a mental fault.
Damn, that blues harp sounds sweet. I knew it would.
I thought you liked jazz.
Don't be dense. I started wailing the blues when the doctor whacked my bottom on the day I was born.
A baby hipster, very cool.
Around the 6th of July, 2017 was the following instance we received any information in reference to the live-action production. Around 9 years since our last piece of news. It still isn't known what occurred between 2009 and 2017, but I can assure you that the film was in complete development hell. What was once intended to be a film now shifted its gears towards a live-action television series by Tomorrow Studios. Tomorrow Studios had worked on other television series such as Aquarius and Good Behavior, two shows I've never heard of up until research for this video. It was also confirmed that the series will be executive produced by Sunrise Inc. As stated before, they're the production team behind the original anime, and Midnight Radio, who only had shows Nightfall and Zoo to their name. Another two series I've never heard of. It's looking pretty great. Chris Yost, writer of countless pieces of cinema such as 2013's Thor: The Dark World and 2016's Max Steel, was confirmed to write at least one of the show's episodes, most likely its first. This is looking a lot better now, obviously.
Do you want to know why I drag an empty coffin like this wherever I go, huh? I'll tell you, 'cause I'm putting your corpse inside it.
November 28th, 2018. Over a year went by without any news in relation to the show's current state. All that fans could assume that the show was in development hell again. However, fans were reassured when it was announced that Netflix had picked up the show to be distributed on their platform, but were not provided with a release window. We were, however, informed that the show would possess 10 episodes, and were provided with this short video. Exciting stuff, right? It looks more like a GIF than a video. It was also announced that the director of the original anime, Shinichiro Watanabe, will act as a consultant on the series. The current synopsis on Netflix reads, a ragtag crew of bounty hunters chases down the galaxy's most dangerous criminals. They'll save the world for the right price. A live-action series.
They're climbing up like a couple of monkeys.
We're finally at the year where we were given the most development, 2019. During the 24th of February 2019, Production Weekly reported that the live-action series would begin production on the 20th of July 2019, and locations in countries such as New Zealand, Australia, Spain, and South Africa were currently being scouted. Fast forward less than 2 months later, the 4th of April 2019, the main cast of the series were finally announced. This being Jon Cho, who would portray Spike, notable for his role in the recent Star Trek reboot of films. I'm going to probably butcher the rest of the names, so wish me luck or don't wish me luck, it's up to you. Mustafa Shikar, who would portray Jet, probably least known of those casted due to his work mostly being in television series. Daniela Pandia, who would portray Faye, notable for her role in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And Alex Hassel, who would portray Vicious, known for his smaller roles in Hollywood productions. Out of all those who were casted, I think Pandia was perfectly casted based on appearance. And I love how they casted Shakir, an African-American actor, to portray Jet. The production team was still casting an actress to portray Ed, thus giving us the idea that the series was still in its early pre-production stage. Apparently there were rumors during the time that Ein would be a husky instead of a Welsh corgi. These rumors were laid to rest on the 5th of May when producer Christopher Yost tweeted, "In the nearly 3 years I've been working on it, there has not been a single day where Ein was anything other than a Welsh corgi." During the 10th of August, Jon Cho posted this image to his Instagram account, featuring a shadow of himself possessing hair and an overall physique similar to how Spike is depicted in the anime. Fans were quick to assume that the production on the live-action series had already commenced. This could have possibly been taken from a wardrobe and hair and makeup test which occurs before production commences. During the 22nd of August, 2019, it was announced that Elena Satine would be joining the already announced cast, portraying Spike's former lover, Julia. Satine's noteworthy work of the past includes Revenge and Twin Peaks, two series that I've actually heard of. 1 month later, production on Cowboy Bebop finally began. Various members of the cast were spotted in Auckland, New Zealand, posting several images on social media. This led fans to assume that the show would be making use of the country of New Zealand for its production. Alex Hassel, who is portraying Vicious, provided us with a rough idea of when the production started. On his Instagram, he posted this photo on the 13th of September with part of the caption reading, "Finally, my first day of filming as Vicious." Out of all the actors a part of the show, Hassel has provided us with an immense amount of photos and even videos. This includes images of his trailer and a video of him practicing stunts, where he is seen wielding a sword, but also a gun? Which is weird since in the anime, Vicious prefers swords over guns. If I recall correctly, I don't even think Vicious holds a gun apart from Spike's in session 26 during their final battle. Here's another stunt rehearsal video, this time uploaded by Pandia rather than by Hassel. On the 14th of September, Auckland Tourism, Events and Economic Development Chief Executive Nick Hill confirmed that the series would commence principal photography during the month of September and would continue to film all over the country till December, informing us that the principal photography would take around 3 to 4 months. During the 28th of September, Satine, actress portraying Julia, posted these two images to her Instagram account, providing us with our first look at the cast altogether. Out of all the dates listed throughout this video, I think the 7th of October 2019 is probably the most important at the time of writing. We were provided with our first official look at the cast through a video shared by Netflix's social media and YouTube accounts.
You need a highlighter?
Can we get him some coffee, please?
This video had also officially announced that the show had begun production and is shooting in New Zealand. I do feel like I'm forgetting something though. What is it? Oh yeah, the video confirmed that Iron would be a corgi, and even showed the corgi who would be portraying the Data Dog. 2 days later, the 9th of October 2019, the production title of the series, Jazz Band, was revealed. For those who don't know what a production title is, most series and films possess a title that usually has no relation to the work being shot. This is done so to ensure that the production is kept somewhat secret from the general public who might find themselves near the set. The 18th of October 2019, Netflix announced that they have halted production on Cowboy Bebop for at least 7 to 9 months. The reason? Jon Cho injured himself on set during the rehearsal of a practically risk-free stunt. I guess that's what happens when you cast a 47-year-old to portray a character in his late 20s. The injury was to his knee and was so drastic that Cho had to return to Los Angeles to undergo surgery. Netflix obviously had the option to recast for his role due to shooting commencing only a couple of weeks ago, but they have stated that they're committed to delaying the production just to keep Cho attached to the role, wishing him a healthy recovery. So, what does this mean for us, the fans? It probably means that instead of a 2020 release, expect the show to arrive on Netflix sometime in 2021. At the time of this announcement, Cho posted to his Instagram, providing us with our first glimpse at the iconic yellow shirt and blue pants of Spike's costume. Also, the caption of the post contained a quote from Bruce Lee, "Water can flow or it can crash," obviously referencing Cho's current physical state. After Cho's injury, a couple of cast members posted several photos to their Instagram accounts, giving their thoughts on the situation. On the 28th of December, quite the concerning video surfaced online of an interview with creator Watanabe-san during the press of his then upcoming anime, Carol and Tuesday.
I've been so busy with this project Carol and Tuesday, so I'm not really involved with live action of Cowboy Bebop. Haven't seen any finalized scenes at all, so even one cut of it, so I don't really know how it's going. I'm praying that it is going well.
Watanabe's response to an interviewer's question completely contradicts Tomorrow Studios' claim that he is a creative consultant on the live-action show.
Damn it. Why did this have to be the day?
You, over there! Hey! Are you listening to me?
On the 8th of January, IGN uploaded an interview with Jon Cho during press interviews for his then upcoming film, The Grudge. It's quite the concerning interview for fans of the show, so I will let you guys listen to parts of it and give you my thoughts on it.
Did you get any advice from the director of the anime, Watanabe, stepping into the role of such an iconic anime character?
We did not communicate, but
I honestly don't see this as a big deal, whereas a lot of fans are pretty angry in the video's comments. It's the producers and writers' job to get into contact with the king, Watanabe-san, and pass on that guidance to the show's actors.
I think that was the big thing that I was focusing on all the time, was like, we gotta keep it strange.
Keeping it strange? Cowboy Bebop is probably one of the most grounded animes you could ever watch. On the 17th of April, Brandon Katz from Observer interviewed writer and executive producer of the live-action series, Jeff Pinker. During this interview, Pinker confirmed that a second season of the series is currently being written, Yoko Kanno will be composing for the series, and that each of the 10 episodes of Season 1 will possess a duration that's around an hour, allowing for the show to expand upon its source material. On the 19th of May, during Netflix's Snowpiercer premiere, Matthew Jackson from Sci-Fi Wire was given the opportunity to interview the show's executive producer, Marty Adelstein. You're probably wondering why I'm bringing up Snowpiercer during a Cowboy Bebop video. However, Adelstein happens to work for Tomorrow Studios, the studio behind Cowboy Bebop's Netflix adaptation. During this interview, Adelstein confirmed that prior to Jon Cho's injury on set, the studio was able to complete the production of 3 out of the 10 episodes. Also, Adelstein confirmed that the show will stray away from live-action anime's tradition of whitewashing characters, confirming that the characters are all sort of multi-ethnic. And that's pretty much it. Due to its overall expensive and impractical nature, the feature film was shelved by Fox sometime between 2012 to 2015, practically forced for someone to pick it back up, leading it to be turned into a Netflix original series. I know a lot of fans hate the idea of a live-action series, but I personally have hope for it based on what we've seen so far. But I guess we can only question if a live-action series is really necessary once a trailer releases.
So that's the story. And what was the real lesson? Don't leave things in the fridge.
If there's no live-action remake of Toys in the Attic, we boycotting Netflix.